Welcome to the summary of lesson 13 about proof or burhan and dialectics or jadal. Before we begin, let's have a short supplication. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Allahumma akhrijna min zulumatil wahm wa akrimna binuril fahm. Allahumma aftah alayna abwaab rahmatik وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. In the previous lessons, we have already covered 11 topics and just recently the rules of definition. So in this lesson, let's first deal with proof and then to be followed by dialectics or jadal, that is burhan. So why we need it? Because proof is a simple guide to certain reasoning in logic. The key idea here is that proof or burhan is the strongest kind of reasoning in logic because it uses certain premises and produces a certain conclusion. So by definition, proof is a syllogism composed of certain premises that necessarily leads to a certain conclusion. So this is one example of conjunctive proof. 4 is even and every even number is divisible by 2. Therefore, 4 is divisible by 2. Now, here is another example, an example of exceptive proof. For example, we say if angle A is less than 90 degrees, it is not obtuse. And angle A is less than 90 degrees. Therefore, angle A is not obtuse. Now, the question is, why is proof expressed as deduction? When we say deduction or deductive, it means to say it's a way of reasoning from general principles to particular situation. The opposite is induction, or in from particular and then you try to come up with something that is general. So why do logicians define proof in terms of deduction? There are answers to this. One, perfect induction can be certain. And imperfect induction with known cause can also be certain. And analogy with known cause can be certain, yakin. But in these cases, their certainty comes from a hidden syllogism. Therefore, proof is ultimately expressed in deductive form. For short, the reason is that when we do induction or analogy, there is hidden syllogism there, and still we arrive at certainty or yakin. That's why proof is always ultimately expressed in deductive form. That is from general principles to particular. Now, there are three types of proof. One is a priori demonstration, B, a priori demonstration, and C, intermediary between a priori and a posteriori. So what does it mean by a priori? We encountered it before in our earlier lesson. So it is a Latin term which basically literally means that which comes before. So here, it's a cause to effect. Example, the heater is turned on. Therefore, it produces smoke. And thus, smoke follows from the heater being on. So from cause to effect. Another example is this coin is hot. Anything hot expands, meaning the molecules. Therefore, this coin expands. Now, how about a posteriori demonstration? A posteriori, it means to say that which comes after. So it is from effect to cause. We identify first the effect and then we try to identify the cause, which is the general. So one example is is this one. The heater is producing smoke, and whatever produces smoke is turned on. Therefore, it is turned on, meaning the heater. Another example is this coin expands. So that is the effect. Anything that expands is hot. Therefore, this coin is hot. Now, there is a third kind of proof, which is actually an intermediary between a priori and a posteriori. So, how? From one effect to another through a common cause. So, we have here effect 1. It produces a common cause, and then the effect, which in turn produces effect 2. So this is an example. A horse is sensitive. That is effect. Every sensitive being moves by will. Therefore, a horse moves by will. Take note that sensitivity and voluntary motion are both linked to animality or being an animal. So the explanation is that the mind first moves from one effect to the common cause, and then from the cause to another effect. Here, the first effect is being sensitive, and then the common cause is that every sensitive being moves by will. Therefore, a horse moves by will. Now, what is the value and importance of proof? First, human beings naturally wants to seek the truth. And proof is the clearest path to certainty, or what we call as yaqeen. And a true philosopher accepts no claim without proof. We always ask for a proof. And logic, philosophy, and mathematics are called demonstrative sciences because their principles rely on proof. And in demonstrative sciences, both form and content must be certain or yaqeen. Now, how about the purpose and benefit of proof? First, we arrive at the truth, and this truth serves as our personal guide. And having the personal guide, we could be able to teach that truth to others. In other words, proof helps a person reach the truth, and it helps guide others to truth. And proof is superior to the other skills because it satisfies the certainty seeking soul of a human being. And here is an important note, however. A proposition may be certain for one person but not for another. Because of this, a reasoning may count as proof for one person and not for someone else. So as a way of review, let us ask these questions before we engage with the lessons activities. What is demonstrative deduction? What is the difference between a priori and a posteriori proof? What is proof expressed in deductive form? and what is proof, and why is proof important. Now, in order to delve deep into the topic of the lesson, here is the practical exercise instruction. Write 5 examples from daily life. Some should move from cause to effect, that is a priori, and others are from effect to cause, that is a posteriori. So here is the key takeaway that we have for this lesson. Think clearly, ask for proof, and seek certainty. Now let's proceed to the other topic in this lesson, which is dialectics. By the way, proof is actually lesson 26 of our textbook, while dialectics is lesson 27. So here dialectics is a simple guide to debate, disputation, and its etiquette in logic. The key idea here is that people engage in debate every day about social, political, economic, religious, and family issues. And thus, dialectics is important because debate happens in speech, books, magazines, newspapers, and public discussion. And Islamic seminary students or Islamic studies students especially need to learn the art of dialectics or jadal. Now, how about the definition and benefit? Dialectics is a scholarly skill used to defend a claim through premises accepted by the other party. So here, the goal of Burhan is to discover certain truth, whereas the goal of dialectics or jadal is to make the other party accept the argument or be unable to refute it. So with this distinction, we should take note that dialectics does not aim primarily at certainty, but at persuasive defense and refutation in debate. Now, here are the key terms of dialectics. One is the questioner, the one that asks question. He attacks or she attacks the claim through questions. And we have the answerer that defends the claim and response. And we have also thesis, that is the claim or opinion being defended, and your position or stance. The hidden universal principle or rule used to generate many arguments. Now, what is a stance? When we say stance, it is like a strategic principle or hidden base from which many known propositions can be produced. For example, if heat causes expansion, meaning expansion of molecules, coldness causes contraction of molecules. So this is an example of deriving a common proposition from a universal rule. So let us repeat. The questioner asks or challenges, while the answerer replies and defends the thesis, his stance on the thesis. Now, what are the contents and tools of dialectics? Dialectics often uses well-known premises as well as admitted premises. It may also use induction, analogy. And dialectical reasoning is not limited to deduction. It could also use, as we have said, induction. But take note that becoming skillful in dialectics requires practice, expertise, and tools. Now, what are the 4 skills of a successful disputant or debater? One is first knowledge of well-known propositions about the topic. Second is skills with words and meanings. For example, she or he is well versed with polysemy, equivocal and univocal terms, synonymy, singular and compound expressions, etc. The third skill is the ability to distinguish similar things by noticing their differences. And number four, very important, the ability to compare very different or opposite things and identify useful relations. Okay, so what are the etiquettes of disputation? On the basis of an ayah in the Quran, which is we always cite, that is in chapter 16, verse 125, وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, and dispute with them in ways that is good or wholesome or best. So here are some of the etiquettes of disputation. One is to know logical rules well, to speak clearly and eloquently, to use dignified and respectful language. It does not mean that once you have disputation with somebody, you could use any language you want. Number four, control the flow of discussion wisely. Number five, to use proverbs, maxims, poems, and stories when helpful. Number six, to avoid insults, mockery, and cursing. That is number six. Number seven, to be firm but calm. That is not to shout. And number eight, to listen carefully and not to interrupt. Number nine, to avoid debating arrogant or purely self-seeking people unless necessary. And number 10, to accept the truth when it becomes clear. So to summarize, we could say that the main goal of dialectics is to defend or refute in debate, whereas the common premises are well-known and admitted premises, while other tools include induction as well as analogy. And the main arena of dialectics is discussion, writing, public debate. And the ideal attitude is to be respectful, skillful, and truth-oriented. So, before you do the lesson activities, let us have these questions in mind. Why is dialectics important? What are the main terms of dialectics? What contents and tools are used in dialectics? Number four, what are the etiquettes of disputation? And in order to delve deeper on the topic of the lesson, here is the practical exercise instruction. Debate one current social issue with a classmate while observing the arts and etiquettes of disputation. So as a takeaway for this lesson, let's think logically, speak wisely, and seek the truth. Next meeting, we will proceed to the summary of lesson 14 about fallacy, or what we call in Arabic as mughalito. Thank you so much and see you then, inshallah.